It started with a simple plan. 4 American exchange students, me, Billy, Lee, and Susan, eager to explore more than just classrooms and textbooks during our semester abroad in Krakow. When our local friend Marek invited us to an old family house deep in the countryside, we jumped at the chance. He said it had been in his family for over 80 years, nestled in a remote area that had once seen heavy fighting during World War II. No one had set foot in the place for more than 3 decades. History, seclusion, a chance at finding relics. Count us in. But fate had other plans. On the morning we were supposed to leave, Marek slipped on some ice and ended up with a badly sprained leg. He couldn't go, but we already rented the SUV that morning, packed our bags and food for 2 nights. So, he gave us the keys and insisted we go without him. It's an adventure, he said. Don't miss it. We didn't want to disappoint him or ourselves, so we went anyway. We followed an old mountain road, winding through snow-dusted forests and empty stretches of land. At first, it was beautiful. But about 20 kilometers from the house, something shifted. The forest grew patchier. The trees gnarled like arthritic fingers. Abandoned stone buildings, war relics perhaps, lined the route like silent sentinels, their windows like dead eyes. We didn't pass a single soul. Then came the cemeteries, dozens of them, it seemed, small moss-covered plots on either side of the narrowing road. Well, I guess this is where the real adventure begins. Crosses leaning at odd angles, inscriptions worn away by time and weather. I started to feel it then, that crawling unease under your skin, like you're being watched. But no one wanted to be the first to admit it. To be honest, I had never seen so many graves in my life. It seemed endless. 3 kilometers out, we passed a crumbling but still functioning church. An old priest or caretaker stood outside, sweeping the steps. We asked about the house. Actually, Lee was the one who asked about Marek's family home. He looked at us, eyes wide, then muttered something in Polish. We didn't understand it all, but Susan caught one word with her translation app later. Crazy. And something like go back. We laughed it off. We reached the house around 3 p.m. It wasn't big and was weather-beaten. The air around it was strangely cold, colder than it should have been for that time of year. The wind whispered through the surrounding trees. There was a weight to the place, like the past refused to let go. We explored the area around the house. Trenches lined the hill, and we found a few rusted helmets and shrapnel scattered like forgotten memories. Susan found a dog tag half buried in the dirt. I remember her turning it over and going pale. The man could still be buried here, she said, and dropped it. There were graves too, scattered, some marked with rotten wooden crosses, others with cracked stones, and some just barely looked like graves. None looked recent, maybe from the wartime era. It was about 6 p.m. and the night was creeping in when we decided to get back into the house. We agreed to do more exploring first light tomorrow. Lee and I decided to gather firewood, expecting the night to be cold. The interior of the house was in bad shape, and we didn't know what other critters might be staying in it. To be safe, we decided to stay in the living hall. We cleared up some of the stuff in the hall, placed our sleeping bags, and we were done for the night. Luckily, the fireplace was still usable. We started a fire and ate some food. Simple food in this rustic setting tasted really nice. To wash it off, Billy brought 2 bottles of good wine. We enjoyed it. just chatting when we started to notice small things beginning to happen. Billy was the first to experience it. He went out for a smoke. When he walked back in, he told us there are people in the distance under the moonlight. Seems to be like men standing in rows. All of us rushed to the window, but nothing. Lee jokingly said, "Too much wine, Billy." But after a few minutes, the wind howled. We heard scurrying sounds in the attic, but we brushed it off, saying it could be some critters. Then came the heavy footsteps on the roof. It sounded intentional. Howling came next. It sounded so eerie, like the sound you hear in werewolf movies. God, that really made Susan unsettled. It was about 11 p.m. when suddenly things calmed down. No noise, no wind, and it felt relaxing. The fireplace roared with life, flames dancing over the dried wood we had gathered earlier while exploring the surrounding area. Yet, despite its warmth, the hall remained unnaturally cold. The chill clung to our skin, and our breaths curled in the air like misty ghosts. It was Susan who noticed first. Then Susan tapped my arm, slowly but firmly. She didn't speak, just pointed. I looked. There were 4 of us by the fire, but 5 visible clouds of breath in the cold air. 5. The 5th was rising between Billy and Lee. I don't remember screaming, just grabbing the flashlight. Billy and Lee were frozen for a heartbeat, then bolted. "Oh God!" Lee yelled. "There's something here with us." The panic hit all at once. It wasn't our imagination, as all 4 of us saw it. We had to leave. In panic, we grabbed what we can and walked out. As I walked out from the hall, I swear to God I still could see the unknown breath fog near the fire. That really made my heart pounding harder. We rushed to the SUV. The engine turned over and roared to life. But then, no headlights. None. What the hell? We did not check it this morning when we took the car. Honestly, who would have? We couldn't see a damn thing ahead. Billy said we should just walk at least to the church. Should be safe there. He is a little religious, but we did not have much of a choice either. All of us agreed. We decided to walk. Lee was mumbling, "It's going to be a creepy walk with all the graves guys." But just as we stepped like 50 feet into the darkness, we heard it. A low guttural growl in the dark. More than one. We turned back. Dog. Wild ones. More than a dozen of them, lurking just beyond the torchlight. We walked back slowly backwards as the dogs walked forward. I do not know what kind of dogs were those, but they were big and hairy. More like a Tibetan Mastiff breed. We safely entered the SUV. Frustratedly, I ask, "Well, now what we do? We can't go outside the car, and we definitely do not want to stay in the house." Then, Susan came with a brilliant idea. "We use the flashlight as headlight," she said. After talking it over, we decided to give it a try. Slowly, carefully. Using 2 flashlights through the windows to light up the road ahead and the clear moonlight overhead, we drove. The journey was slow, and the eerie feeling being around graveyards, stretching endlessly, like the dead were trying to keep us from leaving. More than before, at least it felt like that as we were driving slowly. We finally reached the church about 30 minutes later. I honked twice. We could see the church lights. The same priest was still there. He didn't seem surprised. Just ushered us in, locking the doors behind us. "This is the only safe place. Never go out after dark. Not here. Living here is living with the dead," he said in broken English. Now we understand why there were almost no one living here. He told us that before the war, 10 villages had stood in this region. Every one of them got destroyed. Thousands of Nazis, Soviets, and innocent Polish died. Some, if lucky, were buried where they fell, scattered across fields, forests, even under the roads. After knowing the history of the place, we couldn't sleep that night. It was much more than what you read in textbook or see in movies. We sat in pews, barely speaking, while the scent of old incense in the church air made us feel like in a bygone era. In the morning, we left with the priest's blessing, drove back in silence, looking at the rear of the church, blanketed in graves, hundreds, maybe more, a reminder of human cost that the war had taken permanently.